Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a massive stack of sources sitting in front of us today, specifically tailored for you.
Oh yeah, it is quite the stack.
Seriously, you handed us official Google Workspace updates, university IT guidelines from UChicago and the New School, a really fascinating 2025 master's thesis on logistics.
That thesis is wild, by the way.
It really is.
Yeah.
Plus, we've got power user tutorials and a ton of raw user experiences. And our mission today isn't to just give you a basic, surface level tutorial.
Right, we are way past the basics here.
Exactly. We are going to show you how to break Google Notebook LM past its default settings. We want to look at how to take your mountain of unread PDFs, videos, and articles and transform them into a highly customized, interactive brain.
Which is something I think everyone desperately needs right now.
Yeah, but to do that, we have to talk about the know-it-all at the party.
Yes, party know-it-all.
You know the type. It's the standard AI chatbot who read a Wikipedia summary of a topic and now speaks with just absolute, unshakable confidence, even when they are completely hallucinating facts.
That party know-it-all perfectly represents the traditional large language model. I mean, they have a massive breadth of knowledge because they scraped the entire public internet, right?
Right.
But that means their depth and factual accuracy on any specific niche topic can be incredibly unpredictable. They prioritize sounding plausible over being strictly factual.
Which is why Notebook LM is fundamentally different.
Mm.
If standard AI is that party know-it-all, this tool is more like a personal research assistant who is locked in a windowless library with only the specific books you personally handed them.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, like they can't look out the window, they can't check their phone, they literally only know the text you provided.
So that underlying architecture is what we call retrieval augmented generation, or RA for short. It operates in a strict walled garden.
A walled garden.
Exactly. When you ask this system a question, it doesn't query its vast generalized internet training data to generate an answer. It runs a search exclusively through the specific documents you uploaded. It retrieves the relevant paragraphs, and it only uses those paragraphs to formulate its response.
And that leads to, honestly, the most important feature, which is the citation chips.
Oh yeah, absolute game changer.
It doesn't just give you an answer. It drops a little clickable number that points you back to the exact paragraph in your own document.
Right, it proves its work.
But looking at the IT guideline you provided from the New School, this walled garden has some very strict bouncers at the door.
They do. You are capped at 50 sources per notebook.
Right, and each source has a hard limit of 500,000 words or 200 megabytes.
Which sounds like a lot, but power users hit that limit fast. And those limits aren't arbitrary, you know? They exist because of something called the context window.
Context window. Let's unpack that for a second.
So think of the context window as the AI's short-term working memory. For the AI to accurately cross-reference and synthesize information, it has to hold all of that text in its active memory simultaneously.
At the exact same time.
Yeah, if you exceed those limits, the AI essentially starts dropping information. It just forgets things, which leads to degraded performance or failed queries.
Makes sense. And the system is also highly regulated on a content level. Like the sources note that copy-protected PDFs will just immediately fail to process.
Yep, it won't even try.
Furthermore, there are aggressive safety flags. Even if you upload purely historical documents, say, primary sources from a war, if the raw text triggers a safety flag regarding violence or obscenity, the AI acts like a stubborn employee.
A very stubborn employee.
It just refuses to interact with the document.
It's true. But the types of files you can bring into this environment, however, have expanded significantly beyond just basic text documents.
Right, they've added a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, it now ingests EPB files, which is critical for researchers working with entire long-form books rather than just short papers.
That's huge.
And you can drop in YouTube links, and the system automatically extracts and reads the transcript. You can even upload raw audio files, like MP3s of your lectures or corporate meetings, and it handles the transcription and integration seamlessly.
That is wild. And that brings up a crucial point about the actual quality of your library.
Yeah.
There's this incredible anecdote in your sources about a user dubbed the alchemical student.
Oh, I love this story.
It's so good. So they took a highly expensive, paid online marketing course, all the PDFs, the video transcripts, everything, and fed it directly into Notebook LM.
Let's just dump the whole course in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they reported that having the AI interactively tutor them on the material actually helped them learn the concepts faster and more thoroughly than sitting through the actual course itself.
Wow.
But the lesson there isn't just that the AI is smart, right? It's that the input was highly curated premium information.
Absolutely. The classic computer science rule of garbage in, garbage out is massively magnified in a walled garden.
Right, because it only has what you give it.
Exactly. Because the AI is physically restricted to your documents, its output is a direct reflection of your input. If you upload weak, heavily biased, or fundamentally incomplete sources, your advanced AI assistant is going to just confidently synthesize and repeat that weak, biased, incomplete information back to you.
Okay, let me push back on that for a second because this is where my head goes. I'm building my walled garden. I upload 20 different research papers on a complex topic, like let's say economics.
Economics.
What happens when those sources fundamentally contradict each other? Like paper A says inflation is driven by supply chains, and paper B says it's corporate price gouging. Does the AI just average them out, or does it pick a favorite?
That is a great question, and that scenario is precisely why power users have developed a mandatory vetting
The
phase.
vetting phase.
Yes. You never just dump files into the system and start asking your primary research questions. You have to stress test the latent space of those documents first.
Let's unpack how to actually execute that, because getting the documents in the first place is much faster now with the new fast research and deep research toggles, right? Like, I don't have to manually download 50 PDFs anymore.
No, you don't. The deep research toggle allows the AI to momentarily step out of the walled garden, scour the live web based on your prompt, gather up to 50 highly relevant sources, and then lock itself back in with that new material.
That is so convenient.
It is. Alternatively, you can point it at your connected Google Drive and it will instantly pull in specific project files, invoices, or meeting notes without you digging through endless folders.
So, okay, you have your stack of 50 sources. The power user workflow you provided involves a very specific three-prompt strategy to run before you do anything else.
Right. So step one, ask the AI to identify any areas where the uploaded sources explicitly disagree with each other and to map out those contradictions.
Oh, that's smart.
It is, because this forces the system to surface the debate rather than accidentally conflating opposing viewpoints into one messy answer.
Okay, so step two, you ask the system what important subtopics or logical next questions are completely missing from the provided sources.
Exactly. That exposes your blind spots. It tells you what you failed to upload.
Right.
And step three is the critical thinking check. You ask the AI to outline any contrarian or alternative viewpoints that exist in the broader world but are not represented in your current walled garden.
Which is essential for preventing that echo chamber effect.
Yeah.
Especially when researching highly controversial or subjective topics.
Exactly. You have to know what you're not seeing.
But wait, if I'm doing a massive literature review, say for a PhD or something, I'm going to hit that 50 source limit incredibly fast.
In a heartbeat.
Right. So your sources detail this workaround called information alchemy, which, I mean, it sounds like magic. Look at the actual mechanics of it.
Yeah, the mechanics of information alchemy rely on the system's ability to create internal documents. So you ask Notebook LM to synthesize multiple sources, say 30 different articles on a specific subtopic, into one highly dense, comprehensive summary. And then you save that generated summary as a note inside your notebook.
And then you convert that note into a brand new source document.
You got it.
So now, the knowledge of 30 articles is sitting in a single source slot.
Yeah.
You delete the original 30 documents, and you've just freed up 29 empty slots for new material.
It's a brilliant hack.
It is, but hold on, let me think about the architecture of this for a second. The whole selling point of this tool is the citation ship, right?
Right.
The ability to click a number and go straight to page 42 of a specific PDF. If I compress 30 original PDFs into one synthesized text document and then delete the originals, I destroy the citation trail.
Yep.
The AI can only point me to the synthesized note, not the original page 42.
You've identified the exact trade-off. Information alchemy is brilliant if your goal is broad conceptual synthesis, like, studying for a general exam or understanding a new industry from a bird's eye view.
Sure.
But if you are operating in a field that requires rigorous, verifiable citations, academic publishing, medical research, or legal review, you just cannot use this trick.
It's too risky.
Way too risky. You must retain the original documents to preserve the integrity of the citation chain.
Which brings us perfectly into the 2025 master's thesis you share with us. This look at how this tool operates in the high-stakes world of corporate logistics.
Yes, a very different use case.
Totally. We are shifting from a student studying for an exam to a scenario where real money, legal liability, and regulatory compliance are actually on the line.
And logistics and procurement are industries that are practically suffocating under complex, high-stakes documentation. I mean, supply chains don't run on handshakes.
Right.
They run on hundreds of pages of contractual obligations, international task codes, and customs regulations.
And prior to AI integration, the professionals in this thesis were manually cross-checking 70-page supplier contracts against constantly updating databases.
Which is just agonizing work.
It really is, and the cost of human error is severe. The thesis highlights an incident where a logistics manager misclassified an HS code, that's the harmonized system code used globally to determine import and export taxes. That single manual error led to a halted shipment and an immediate $5,000 civil penalty.
Ouch. And the traditional software solution for this was just keyword searching, hitting Ctrl+F to find the word liability.
Yeah, the old Ctrl+F.
But the problem is, legal liability in a 70-page contract isn't always explicitly labeled with the word liability. Standard keyword searches completely fail to understand the contextual relationship between clauses spread across different pages.
But because NotebookLM uses vector embeddings, meaning it maps the mathematical meaning of words rather than just the literal letters, it understands concepts.
Exactly.
The thesis shows that by having the AI cross-reference these massive documents and flagging consistencies conceptually, the teams cut their contract review time by over 50%.
50%? That is massive.
It is. This allowed them to vet 50% more suppliers every single month without adding any headcount.
And the most compelling data point from that thesis is where they actually saw the highest return on investment. It wasn't in summarizing emails. The highest ROI was specifically in validating Incoterm clauses and assessing risk.
Okay, for those not living in the supply chain world, Incoterms are the internationally recognized rules that dictate exactly when the risk and cost of a shipment transfer from the seller to the buyer.
Right.
Like, is the seller liable until the goods are on the ship or until they reach the destination port? It is really dense, agonizing legalese.
And this is where the AI acts as a targeted lens. In a corporate environment, you might have a notebook loaded with thousands of pages of diverse contracts, emails, and regulations.
Which brings up the blinders on a racehorse feature.
Yes.
In the left-hand panel of the interface, where all your sources are listed, there are these little checkboxes. If I have 50 dense legal documents, but I only want to know if supplier A's contract violates the new 2025 EU tax code, I just uncheck the other 48 documents.
Mechanically, what you are doing there is restricting the vector similarity search. When you ask a question, the AI looks for mathematically similar concepts in your documents. If you leave everything checked, a question about delivery delays might accidentally pull in irrelevant clauses from, like, an old employee handbook simply because the concepts mathematically align.
Ah, I see.
So by unchecking sources, you completely eliminate the risk of cross-contamination. You force the AI to compare document A exclusively to document B.
It creates absolute laser focus. But the thesis underlines a massive caveat here. The logistics company did not fire their compliance officers and just let the AI run the supply chain.
No, absolutely not.
Human review remains mandatory. The AI's true value wasn't making the final decision, it was eliminating the hesitation. It instantly surfaced the exact clauses buried on page 62, allowing the human manager to make a confident, evidence-based decision in minutes instead of hours.
Because the operational bottleneck is rarely the human's ability to make a decision, right? It's the time required to gather the necessary facts to make that decision confidently.
Exactly. So the AI catches the contract error. But handing a logistics manager a dense block of text isn't always the fastest way for them to process that risk. They sometimes need to visualize the data, which brings us to how NotebookLM is moving away from purely text-based answers into what they call the studio.
Yeah, the interface has really evolved into a dedicated 3-column layout now. On the far left, you manage your sources. The center column is your chat interface, where you interact with the AI, and the entire right column is the studio, which is a dedicated workspace for generating and organizing artifacts derived from your data.
But before we even generate an artifact, we really need to talk about the custom instructions, because they've expanded the limit to 10,000 characters.
10,000? That's a lot of room.
You can essentially write a manifesto dictating exactly how the AI processes your information and speaks to you.
An incredibly powerful use case here is configuring the chat to act as a learning guide.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
So instead of the AI acting like an encyclopedia that just spits out the final answer, you instruct it to act as a Socratic tutor. When you ask a question, it asks you a probing question in return.
Right.
It guides you to connect the dots yourself, which
Oh.
dramatically increases long-term retention of the material.
Let's look at the actual visual artifacts the studio can generate, because we are way beyond simple bulleted summaries now. The system can generate complex mind maps that visually link concepts from different sources.
Which is great for visual learners.
Totally. It creates interactive flashcards that utilize spaced repetition mechanics, like it tracks your progress across sessions, letting you mark concepts as got it or missed it, so the algorithm only tests you on your weak points.
It can even compile your research into comprehensive slide decks that export natively as PPTX files, so they're completely ready to be opened and edited in PowerPoint.
That saves so much time.
It does. But the feature gaining the most traction right now is the predefined infographic generation.
Yes. They introduced 10 new distinct styles for these infographics. One of them is a bento grid, which, if you haven't seen one, it basically takes your information and organizes it into distinct, cleanly separated visual boxes, much like the compartments of a Japanese bento lunchbox.
Right.
It's incredibly satisfying for organizing distinct data points.
And the stylistic range goes all the way to kawaii and anime styles.
Which leads to my absolute favorite example from the power user tutorials you provided.
I know exactly which one you're going to say.
It's so good. Someone uploaded a dense, dry set of research papers regarding the immense water usage of AI data centers.
Very dry topic.
Yeah. And they went into the studio and instructed the AI to generate an infographic styled like a comic book villain origin story.
Unbelievable.
The AI produced this stunning, moody visual titled The Rise of the Hydrovore, mapping out the data center consumption statistics through the visual language of a graphic novel.
It is an undeniably brilliant way to make esoteric data engaging.
Yeah.
However, and there is a however, we have to look closely at the underlying technology generating those images.
Right, because image generation diffusion models have a well-known glaring weakness. They are notoriously bad at rendering actual text.
So bad.
In that very same water usage infographic, the AI confidently generated text on the image, stating that data centers consume the electricity of 2 million households each.
Which is just mathematically insane.
The math was wildly incorrect based on the uploaded sources.
And this happens because a diffusion model doesn't actually understand letters or math. It
Right.
understands pixels and shapes. It knows that in a comic book, there are usually blocks of text in certain locations, so it attempts to draw shapes that look like letters, which often results in gibberish or hallucinatory facts.
Yeah.
If your infographic requires absolute factual numerical accuracy, you just have to stick to the concise standard visual formats rather than relying on the highly stylized illustrative models.
So basically, keep the text minimal if you want the visual to be complex.
Got it.
But honestly, as impressive as the studio is, static visuals aren't the feature that is completely upending how people consume information.
No, they aren't.
That shift is happening with the interactive audio and the automation ecosystem.
The audio overviews feature takes your dense PDFs and translates them into a highly realistic AI-hosted conversational podcast.
And it is highly customizable. You can command the AI to produce a deep dive, a quick executive brief, a harsh critique, where the hosts actively try to tear apart your uploaded business plan.
That one is brutal, by the way.
I bet. Or debate where they argue opposing sides of your sources.
The real paradigm shift, however, is interactive mode.
This is genuinely wild. Picture this. You are listening to the AI hosts debate the sources you uploaded. They're discussing the water usage of data centers versus the 20 trillion gallons used annually for U.S. corn production.
Okay.
While the audio is playing, you can physically click a button to raise your hand.
You are literally interrupting the live generation of the audio file.
It's exactly like listening to a live talk radio show, calling into the station, and having the host stop their planned segment to address you directly. You ask them to clarify a specific statistic. The AI pauses, searches your walled garden, formulates an answer, speaks it aloud to you, and then seamlessly transitions right back into their original debate structure.
It fundamentally transforms learning from a passive consumption experience into an active conversational dialogue. It's amazing.
It really is.
And for users who prefer visual pacing, they've also rolled out cinematic video overviews, which generate fluid, animated explainer videos timed perfectly to the AI's narrative.
And if you are managing a team or teaching a class, You can utilize custom buttons. You
Yeah.
configure the prompt on the back end, say, generate a 5-minute audio brief focusing only on financial risk, with one host acting as a skeptic, and you save it as a button.
Nice.
Now, anyone who accesses your notebook just clicks that one button to get the exact output they need without having to engineer a prompt themselves.
Which brings us to the final frontier for power users scaling this tool by automating how data actually enters the walled garden in the first place. Because manually dragging and dropping PDFs becomes a massive bottleneck.
Yeah, that gets tedious. For the average user, the easiest solution is the Web Clipper for Notebook LM Chrome extension. You find a massive YouTube playlist of lectures or a constantly updating Google Drive folder, and with one click, the extension pipes all that data directly into your notebook.
But for developers, the community has built powerful open source bridges, specifically Notebook LemPy and Notebook-MCP-Gly.
Let's break down that second one, because MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. What is that actually doing?
So think of the Model Context Protocol as a highly secure one-way tunnel between different AI systems.
One-way tunnel. Okay.
Let's say you are using a coding AI like Claude on your local machine, and you want it to reference the proprietary API documentation you have stored in Notebook LM. Without MCP, you would have to give Claude access to your entire hard drive or manually copy-paste the code over and over.
Right, which is a security nightmare.
Exactly. MCP creates a secure bridge. Your local AI can query your Notebook LM database, pull exactly the data it needs, and nothing else, without ever compromising the walls of the garden.
So your local coding AI can directly interrogate your private research AI.
Yep.
And if you want to take your hands off the wheel entirely, you can use automation tools like N8N. You can self-host an N8N instance on a secure server, like Hostinger's KVM2 plan, and build workflows that just run while you sleep.
Oh, yeah, full automation.
You can build a script that constantly monitors an RSS feed for new industry regulations,
Mm-hmm.
automatically downloads the PDF, and drops it directly into your Notebook LM ecosystem.
You essentially transform the tool from a static application you visit into an automated, continuously updating engine for your entire knowledge base.
Wow.
And once that ecosystem is perfectly tuned, the source is automated, the custom instructions dialed in, you can share the entire apparatus with a single link. Your client or your study group gets immediate access to your curated brain without having to configure a single setting.
We've covered an immense amount of ground today. We started with the basic architecture of a walled garden and the physical limits of the context window. We looked at how power users bypass those limits using information alchemy while acknowledging the critical trade-off with precise citations.
Right. We examine how real-world logistics teams are leveraging vector search to slash complex contract review times by 50%, all while maintaining mandatory human oversight.
Which is key.
And we explored the studio's transition from text to visual artifacts, from spaced repetition flashcards to comic book infographics.
And finally, we looked at how interrupting interactive audio and building secure MCP tunnels allows you to converse with and automate your entire data ecosystem. It is just a completely radical way to interact with information. Which brings me back to a thought I have not been able to shake since we started.
The alchemical student.
Exactly. The user who fed a highly expensive, meticulously crafted digital marketing course right into this system. They found that having the AI interactively tutor them, question them, and adapt to their learning style in real time was significantly more valuable than the original course itself.
It highlights a profound shift in where value is actually derived in the modern age. Think about it. If an AI can take static, raw educational material, instantly synthesize it, map the latent concepts, and teach it back to you more effectively than the human who originally wrote it, where does the actual value of a textbook or an online course lie today?
It's a great question. Is the value still inherently in the information itself? Or has information truly become a cheap commodity, and the actual premium value is simply having the right AI architecture to translate it for you?
It's wild to think about.
Something to seriously ponder the next time you're about to drop money on a masterclass or a digital course. Thank you for joining us on this custom deep dive. Take these strategies, go build your own walled garden of knowledge, load up that library, and see what your personal research assistant can truly do.